Hi everyone, this week we're going to be taking a look at my trip to VCF East. Then we'll take a look at one of the computers that I picked up, get it fixed up, and get it listed for sale. So this is one of the side rooms. It was actually not as busy. It was pretty crazy the whole time. Every room was packed full. This is just a part of the museum. It was on, looks like an old military base, so just some of the stuff we went to look at. Just to get away from the crowd for a little bit. So we went over and took a look at this, and then got back into the hustle and bustle of it all. I'd love to sit here and tell you all about all these things. I don't know anything about them. They were just cool to look at. Some older distress signals. I really don't have any knowledge of them, but definitely cool to see. So we'll start off with something I actually recognize. There's an NES set up. The majority of everything here is computers. This year's theme was learning. So anything in the educational field, but still a lot of just vintage computers here. A lot of cool stuff to look at. Definitely a lot of these have been covered in depth on other channels, such as LGR, the 8-Bit Guy. 8-Bit Guy was there, got to meet him, and we also got to meet David Lovett of Usagi Electric. Probably the highlight of the show. His table was busy the entire time. We went all 3 days and had to wait until Sunday to meet him. So just walking around looking at some of the computers. This room is actually a little bit less busy. If you want to play a fun drinking game, you can do a shot every time you see Doom set up. Pretty much every other table you could find Doom, but definitely a classic worth checking out if you've never played it before. Don't know what you'd be doing at this computer festival, but Doom was there. We have an Altair 8800. This is set up in the computer museum. Definitely worth checking out, even without the VCF East going on. The computer museum is always active. You can go in and get a tour of it. They're very friendly. Get a look at everything in there, and any information that you could want, they have right on the top of their head. This is Usagi Electric set up here with his Centurion and the Hawk Drive. He was extremely excited. Great guy to talk to. Get to learn all about the Centurion and how the Hawk Drive works. Definitely check out his channel. Wife got to meet him. She was super excited. He even went so far as to pull some of the cards out so we could take a look at them and show us things that are super fragile. Definitely wouldn't want to get near myself, but he had no problem handling them. I got this cool printout that says Jim's Tech Nonsense on it. From the paper tape, Corey Cohen was the person that coded this, wrote up a program so that no matter what you type in, you just hit enter and it will print it out on paper tape punched for you. I ended up buying a MacBook Air. Could not wait to tear into it. So here I am in the hotel room, tearing it apart with, I believe I had a little Swiss Army knife to use. The tip of the screwdriver itself was too big. But I got in there to see what was going on, said it needed a hard drive. And turns out they weren't lying. There's no hard drive in it. It hadn't failed. It just wasn't there. So I'll fix that in a later video, but of course I had to tear into it and notice that there's no hard drive there. This is the other thing that I picked up, PowerMac G4. Of course my cat loves it. But before I brought it home for her to see it, it needed a little bit of a cleaning, so here we are doing that cleaning. Definitely not an approved data vac, but it worked. Leaf blower will get the dust out that doesn't need to come in your house. This computer wasn't extremely dirty, but it's definitely worth blowing out. There's quite a bit of chunks of dust in it. A little bit caked on, but not too bad. At least when I turned it on to test it at home, it wasn't blowing dust into the air. The only real downside to using the gas-powered leaf blower is that it kind of stunk like gas when it got home, but whatever. I cleaned it out. The computer did actually turn on and attempt to boot, but it would get stuck every time. Just after it would boot, you couldn't move the mouse or anything. It ended up having a failed hard drive. It had two hard drives in it, so I tried both of them. They ended up both being bad, so I put a new hard drive in. and went ahead and reinstalled Mac OS 10. You can also run Mac OS 9.2 right through Mac OS 10. You just reboot into OS 9 in case you want to run any older applications. Here's my OS install disk that I could not figure out why it was working until I finally took it out. It's cracked. So after burning a new one of those, we have OS 10 installed. Here it is, up and running, and pretty basic from here. Just installed it and got everything configured. And once I had it all set, tested it out, it's working great. There's really no issues with it. I went ahead and did the normal things, replaced the CMOS battery and replaced the thermal paste just as maintenance. And then I took some zip ties and cleaned up the cable management because even from the factory it wasn't that great. I just cleaned it up a little bit to make it look a little bit more presentable when you open it up. And I do currently still have this listed for sale. Of course, it's not selling, but hey, it's here, it works, and it will not go to recycling now. This was one of the cheaper things there to pick up. This was only $20. There were models like this going for $100 and up. And then if you went up to a cheese grater model, which I did take a look at, they were crazy expensive. We did see some deer when we were checking the place out the day before it opened. And there I am meeting the 8-bit guy. And of course, on the way back, we had to stop at Micro Center because we've never been in one before. And that's the face you make when you don't know how to code. Thank you for watching.